Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back to Watchcastage. It is Black Gloved Bandrew back again, and today we are looking at an outstanding, pretty basic watch. This is the Christopher Ward C63 Sealander Automatic. This goes for about $695 on a strap or $815 on this bracelet. And with that out of the way, let's talk about the build quality. First up, with the bracelet sized up for my 18 centimeter wrist, we have a 142 gram weight. As far as case diameter, I'm getting around 39 millimeters. Then as far as the thickness, I'm getting around 11.5 millimeters. Then for the lug to lug, I'm measuring 44.1, but as you can see, the end link does protrude quite a bit. So if we include that in the lug to lug measurement, I get about 50.5 millimeters. And lastly, as far as the lug width, we are looking at 20 millimeters. Then as far as the water resistance of this, it comes in at 150 meters. That's thanks to a screw down crown as well as a screw on display case back. Also, if we look at the crown side, you can see that you have a little bit of crown guards there to protect the crown from getting snagged on anything. Then the crystal is going to be a flat sapphire crystal, which does have anti-reflective coating. I do believe it's only anti-reflective undercoating though. The entire case is made out of 316L stainless steel. The entire bracelet is stainless steel as well, and it tapers from 20 millimeters down to 18 mil at the clasp. The clasp is 20 millimeters, and the clasp is a dual button deployant, so you click both of those buttons to open up the clasp. And then a really big selling point of this bracelet is the fact that it allows for on-the-fly adjustment without the need for tools. All you do is pull this little lever back and it allows you to extend the bracelet by about 8 millimeters. That's what I measured. So if you are out and about and your wrist swells up, this is extremely helpful. Or if it's too loose, you can just push this right on in and there you go. The bracelet is either shorter or longer. Extremely useful. And lastly, if it matters to you, this watch is made in Switzerland. Then as far as finishing, I found myself really enjoying this, and they do call this their light catcher case. A lot of the watch is going to be brushed, but you also have plenty of high polished areas which really catch and reflect the light. First, if we look at the top of the bezel, you will notice that that is very nicely brushed, but then you have a high polished edge which transitions into the brushed side of the bezel. Then along the entire side of the case, you will see that you have this really nice high polished chamfer edge. Then the side of the case is nicely brushed. And lastly, near the bottom of the case, transitioning to the bottom of the watch, you will find another high polished chamfer edge. And here is how the bezel looks transitioning into the brushed tops of the lugs. Then if we look at the crown side of the watch, you will first notice a really nicely signed crown there, but my favorite part is the way that the crown sits within the crown guards, the high polish, the brushed edges as well. I just love this side of the case. It is absolutely gorgeous. Then when we look at the rear of the case, you will find basic information such as Swiss made, stainless steel, water resistance, and the serial number. But the reason you'll look at the back is that display case back, which does show you the movement, which may not be the prettiest movement or the most complex movement, but they do have a nicely decorated rotor there. Then when we look at the bracelet is completely brushed, which honestly is my favorite type of finishing for a bracelet. I don't like high polished links on my bracelets because they scratch too easy and it makes it look a bit too dressy. But the clasp of the bracelet is also all brushed stainless steel, but you have that nice Christopher Ward logo etched there. And then if we open this up, we get a nice little treat there with Christopher Ward's name etched there as well. Then when we look at the dial, again, I just think it looks so incredibly good. Around the exterior of the dial, you will find a minute track. You will find Arabic numerals every 5 minutes. Then you have these gorgeous polished indices at every hour. You do have a half index at 6 o'clock to make room for the date window, and then at 12 o'clock you have a dual index for orientation, and the indexes are all beautifully finished, and they have plenty of lume in the center of them. Then below 12 o'clock, you'll find a printed-on Christopher Ward logo, which is a huge improvement over the prior 9 o'clock placement. Then below the 6 o'clock, you will find Swiss Made printed there. Above the half marker, you'll find the date wheel, which is a black date wheel with white printing, which blends seamlessly with the dial. Then above that, you will find automatic in white and 150 meters or 500 feet printed in red. Then as far as the handset, for the hour hand, you will find this broad arrow with plenty of lume in the center. It is also going to be high polish on the sides and then brushed in the center. For the minute hand, you have the exact same finishing, brushed in the center and high polish on the sides, and it is going to be filled in lume, and that is a sword style hand. And then for the second hand, you will find that it is all painted black. The counterweight is going to be Christopher Ward's very interesting trident, and then the tip is going to be painted red. Then as far as the movement, this is a Sellita SW200-1. That is a 26 joule movement, 28,800 beats per hour, 38-hour power reserve. It does allow for hacking and hand wind, and as far as the accuracy of my watch, I was getting around -4 to -6 seconds every single day. And here is a quick look at the lume on this thing. You can tell the orientation is outstanding. You have that dual hour marker at 12, the hour, the minutes hand, easy to tell apart. Just a great watch to read in the evening when the lights are low. And here is a quick look at the watch on my 18-ish centimeter wrist. It really does work well. I was quite concerned about the center links protruding 50 millimeters, but it does still seem to fit pretty nicely on my wrist. As I rotate around, you can see really nice fit. There's the signed buckle and clasp going back around. Just all around, a really nicely sized and really great looking, simple, everyday kind of watch. Now let's jump to the more subjective part of this video, and we'll start with the pros, and my first pro is the look of this thing. It just looks so dang good. It is classy, it is understated, it's not boring, and it's still interesting. Everything about the dial just works so incredibly well. The finishing on the case is interesting, but it's not too flashy. And on the note of the case, my second pro is the case shape. I absolutely adore the shape of this case. It just works so well, and it fits so nicely to a wrist. I love it. I love the case shape on this thing. I'm also a really big fan of the inclusion of a signed screw-down crown. The 150 meters of water resistance is outstanding and perfectly sufficient for everyday use. And then to sound like a sports person again, that on-the-fly bracement adjustment system just has come in clutch. It's so clutch, y'all. I absolutely adore that. And then as far as cons, I think the power reserve does fall a little bit short at 38 hours. I would love to see that updated a little bit. Also, I'm not a big fan of the protruding center links on the bracelet. I do understand why that's there, though. These are going to be quick release bracelets and straps, and on the bracelet, they need to make room for that quick release system, and that leads to you getting that quite large center link on the end link of the bracelet. But I'm not a big fan of how that looks or how it fits. So in conclusion, when I first saw these watches released by Christopher Ward, I pre-ordered it as soon as I possibly could, and when I got it, I liked it a lot. But I was a bit turned off by that bracelet. That center link really rubbed me the wrong way. But after wearing it for a week straight, holy crap, I enjoy the heck out of wearing this thing. It is so much fun. It does sit really nicely on the wrist, even with that long lug to lug if we include the center links. And for $600 to $800, I think this could easily be an everyday watch. And admittedly, while my Rolex Explorer has been away in the shop, this does scratch that itch quite a lot because it does give you very Explorer-esque vibes. If you can't tell, I love the Explorer and I love watches that are simplistic, tool-y, but have a little bit of pizzazz. And I would say this is a pizzazzy kind of watch with that light catcher case. Jeez Louise, just a really great looking watch. And I think the entire C63 or the Sealander line that Christopher Ward just released, their sports watches, are all incredible looking and great options at this price point. And that's going to wrap up for this video. I hope this was helpful for you. If you did find it helpful, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you hated it, give me a thumbs down and let me know what you didn't like about it, or if there's something that I'm missing in my videos. I'm always looking to improve these to make them as useful for you as possible. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching and shaking the camera, me. I appreciate it, giving everybody nausea. Okay, I'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Bye.